Welcome everybody to Business Monday. I am Josh Fenton, CEO of GoLocal. It is a busy day in the world of business today. It's Amazon Prime Day. The governor made an announcement with the building trades on expansion of job training. Will Morgan's got an interesting piece about the new pedestrian bridge. He defends it and thinks we'll forget about the cost later on. And I'm lucky to have a two-time visitor here at GoLocal Live. Sue AnderBois, the food czar for the state of Rhode Island and knowledgeable on just about everything.
Thanks, glad to be here.
How are you?
I'm great.
A lot's going on in the food industry. Let's start with Urban Greens is opening up around town.
Yeah, so we have a bunch of new openings this summer and some more ribbon cuttings to come, but excited about Urban Greens opening up. I got my membership card this weekend. I signed up, a year ago. But yeah, doing our shopping, saw a lot of really great local products on their shelves, and I heard that they're looking to do more, so we'll be working with them on that.
Great. And they are the model for sort of the food. It's a 20-year overnight success, a food co-op program, but now being fancy and dancy, they've got kind of a cool environment over in the West End near Wiggins Village.
Yeah.
You've been there, you've seen it. Describe it a little bit.
Yeah, I've been there, I've seen it. It's a nice grocery store. What I really liked about it, well, a lot of things. I like the membership model. I like that it's community supported. But it's a great space because it's both. You can go there, you can get your regular grape jelly, but you can also get Backyard Food Company salsa or Sanctuary Herbs tea made here in Rhode Island. So it's kind of like soup to nuts, but in a nice, small, compact state. And I brought some folks, which we'll talk about, I think, from the Good Food Foundation's Merchant Collaborative, which are independent grocery stores across the state. And I brought them to the grand opening a few weeks ago.
They're from around the country.
Yeah, they're from around the country.
Yeah.
And they were impressed by just like the sheer number of products that were on the shelves. And these are people who own their own markets as well.
That's great.
Yeah.
Plant City opened up a few weeks ago. It's different. It's a food court. It's a leading vegan brand. This is a big play. They have places in Dubai. They have places in Paris. They have places in New York and LA.
Yeah.
What's your experience over there?
It's pretty great. I've probably been 10 times. You gotta try out all the new places. And plant-based is a huge new thing right now, both in Rhode Island but across the country. And it's awesome. So it's, I think, 4 different restaurant concepts in a market under one roof. So if you guys haven't checked it out, definitely go check it out. And it's a celebrity chef concept, but Michael Kenny is his name, and he's got restaurants kind of all over the country.
All over the world.
Yeah, all over the world.
All over the world.
And I love the Dubois that you just said, because that was my maiden name. So it was a nice thinko. But but it's a great concept, and we're seeing a bunch of new exciting stuff open up.
It'll be interesting, especially tied into the pedestrian bridge.
Yep.
With the pedestrian bridge, and then on Wednesday, Wexford opens.
Yep.
And it might be the closest place to eat if you're over at Wexford.
Yeah.
To be able to go and grab lunch or grab a snack in the afternoon or dinner, depending on how late you're working over there at Wexford. If they're not working late at Wexford, that dog's not going to hunt. What else is going on?
Yeah, so we have a bunch of new openings. We had Plant City, we had Urban Greens. You're going to see some ribbon cuttings later this summer probably. So Farm Fresh Rhode Island will be breaking ground on their new food hub in a couple weeks, which I think we talked about the last time I was here.
Absolutely.
Happy to share more details. We're seeing some of our medium scale guys growing and expanding across the state. So I was just visiting Chi Kitchen, which makes delightful kimchi.
We had them on.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, she was wonderful.
Oh, yeah, I saw her on the show, yeah. And they not only just built out their own space in Pawtucket, but it's already too small, so right across the hall, they're building out an even bigger kitchen, and they just started doing some co-packing.
But by the way, she doesn't quit at 5 o'clock.
No, she doesn't.
That's a woman who at 5 o'clock in the morning is still going.
Yeah, maybe she's taking a nap at that point, yeah.
Right.
And she just did a cool program. We've been piloting a cool program with Polaris, which is our manufacturing technical assistance organization in the state. Maybe they've been on, but they're doing some cool work doing lean with food manufacturers.
Oh, that's
so
great.
So she did lean training with them, and they came and did a whole lean event and helped her, how she was like packaging the bottles. Now she's saving, I think it's 30 cents per bottle based on these like pretty simple things they've done. And so any food businesses out there who want to participate, we still have some spots left in our pilot. Minnie from Chi Kitchen did it. Pat from Pat's Pastured participated. And there are a bunch of others in the pipeline. But if you guys are interested, we want to get you signed up for some low cost technical assistance.
What do you think the secret of this is? Is it just an economic trend across the country, or are we seeing that we built a good enough infrastructure with Hope in Maine and a bunch of other entrepreneurial support structures that we're being able to now feed the beast and send people out the other end to have some success?
I think it's that. I think we've planted a lot of seeds sorry for the food pun, but we've planted a lot of seeds over the last few years, both the state level we've been trying to plant seeds, but also just across the state, the Hope in Maine, Farm Fresh, a whole bunch of stuff. We've just been like, carefully taking care of it, and now we're really seeing some fruit start to grow. Start's the wrong word. Fruit continue to grow and get more and more prosperous. And so I think it's just something you have to keep tending to, but while food is really popular across the country, I think we have some secret sauce, some special sauce here. So we're seeing just a lot of stuff happening. It feels like the multi-year sudden success story, but you have to keep tending to it, and then all of a sudden you see all the fruits pop out.
Will we see, the next step is, does anybody hit the home run? In my previous life in marketing, worked with everybody from New England Coffee to Aurora Nuts to, a range of different sort of maybe $50 million to $200 million companies where they start to really employ significant bases. And then they have a whole host of vendors that support them, whether it's in printing or distribution or job training or whatever it might be. Are we on the verge with anybody yet?
For like a breakout?
Yeah.
I don't know. I think there are a few in our system who we could really see start to emerge. But I think one of the best success stories is kind of this industry as a whole is starting to be that breakout, that there's so many little pieces that they're hiring people. Like Hope in Maine has graduated 40 different members in the last year. They've created something like 400 jobs since their creation. So even though it's, each business doing 2 or 3 or 4 or 5, just the sheer volume of what's happening. And a lot of these new food businesses, they want to be supportive of the local economy. Like we've been talking with some of the brewers who are interested in doing contract growing with farmers. They can start buying their barley from the local farmers. So you're seeing like the local guys supporting the local guys in a way that really builds it. I can't make any prognostications about who's going to be the breakout, but we've seen a few people get
have legalized sports betting now in Rhode Island. So what are the odds?
But people getting some national awards, like Sacred Cow Granola won a Good Food Award last year. Who was it? We just had I can see it in my head. Anna's Shrub just won, I think, 7 international SIP awards, which was really exciting out in Las Vegas. So we're seeing our guys get this national attention for the great stuff they're doing. So might just be any day now.
Any day.
Yeah.
You can take that to Twin River.
Yes.
Can't take it to your mobile device yet. That's been delayed a few times. What more does the state need to do? And I'm not saying the state of Rhode Island as government, but what more does Rhode Island need to do to create that next step, additional, either removing barriers or enhancing incentives, or just making it a better place to do business?
Yeah. I'd say one of the things that we need to keep doing more of is, I'd say 2 things. One, keep supporting your local food makers and other Rhode Island makers, across the state. So one, it's about us supporting our own guys, but 2, something I'm excited about is how do we connect our Rhode Island makers to new markets outside of the state. So I mentioned, we brought in this great group from the Good Food Foundation, a bunch of their independent markets from across the country. And as they were touring, they were like, something's going on here. There's some great stuff. So how do we get the story out so those guys can see what we're doing here and start buying Rhode Island made products and really recognizing the value of
Is there a
what we're making.
one-stop of list of Rhode Island made products that the consumer can go to and say, oh, I didn't know this salad dressing and I didn't know this?
Yeah. No, but that is a great segue because a bunch of us have been talking, so Hope in Maine, Farm Fresh, my colleagues at Commerce and I have been talking about maybe there should be some sort of Rhode Island food label. So when you're walking down the aisle at Dave's, it jumps out at you and you're like, oh, that packaging was so sophisticated and wonderful. I had no idea that it was a homegrown Rhode Island product.
We're not using that warmer and cooler logo. We
no,
could always slap that on.
I think we should use a different one. Something that says food. But we're just thinking, it doesn't have to be a logo, but something that kind of calls out, hey, so consumers, as you're walking by, are Rhode Islanders, you're shopping at Dave's, you're shopping wherever you shop, Clements, Urban Greens.
Yeah, right.
Something jumps out at you and lets you know, oh yeah, this is a Rhode Island product and it's different than these other products. This is something, if I buy it, I'm supporting my friends and my neighbors. So that's something that's in the works, because right now there isn't, a solid list of here are the Rhode Island products, but it's definitely something we want to look into so folks know what they can be
Maybe
supporting.
we'll do it here at GoLocal.
Yeah, maybe it should just say go local.
We can help with that. Talk a little bit about where you see the industry going over the next 12, 24 months. I'm not looking for any Maoist 5-year plan, but 12 to 24 months. And with the expectation, I think we all have to in economic modeling these days, that there's going to be a recession at some point. So how do these folks and how do other folks meander their way through that complexity, coupled with how do you keep the energy churning behind all these different startups?
Yeah. I think the exciting thing for food is that even during recessions, like during our last recession, food was one of the few industries that kept growing in Rhode Island. Rhode Islanders love our food, and growing our own homegrown food. Like, I often think about this too in terms of like climate shocks.
Yeah.
Part of the reason to be investing in our local food system and our local farmers and our local makers is to build in that resilience of like, we don't know what's going to happen with climate change. Well, we do know. It's not going to be great. So how do we build up our own local resilience and our own local makers to kind of withstand shocks like that, so that we can continue to have the wonderful and delicious food that we need to survive? I'd say over the next like 12 to 24 months, things that I'm seeing coming down the pike, we're seeing a lot more folks who are looking for some like stable, like institutional markets as well. So a lot of our makers are looking to sell, and this plays really well with Commerce has a program called Supply RI.
Absolutely, we've talked about it a lot.
Yeah.
And I mean, I can't remember his name, who started the salad dressing company, how that's not at the, Ratty at Brown.
Yeah.
Right? It's got to be.
Yeah, and so having some of our makers be, being supplied, like Rhode fresh milk is in Brown, it's at RISD, it's soon to be at URI. So how do we help
You're
our
telling
guys
me
connect to
Rhode
some?
milk, the last one they got into was URI, an state agricultural school.
Things are complicated.
Only in Rhode Island.
Procurement. But
I know what we're writing is the #1 story for tomorrow.
No, but they're going to be there now, so
Okay,
it's all good.
thank
Yeah. But a lot of our guys are looking into what are some of these stable, great markets that they can get into, and we're helping connect them. So because a lot of our anchors like Brown and RISD, and I was over at Citizens Bank last week. A lot of them are really wanting to really invest in our local communities and buying the delicious food that's grown here or made here in some way, caught here, harvested, whatever. That's something that not only is great for them because they want to support the economy, but their employees get really excited about it too. If they're eating in the company dining hall and they see Buffoni's eggs, or they see
Well, and they're
whoever's
closer,
carrots.
it's local,
Yeah,
it's
fresh.
It doesn't have, and that's a good transition. We had the fish guy. Stu, and he was great. It's what he's trying to do is really interesting. But he talked about sort of the travels of a squid that gets landed at Point Judith. It gets frozen, it gets shipped to China, it gets unfrozen, it gets cleaned, it gets refrozen and shipped back. Now, besides the frequent flyer model,
I think it's in boats, yeah.
I don't know if that's the best environmental impact we can possibly create. Seems not very efficient, and the double freezing is making me wonder why I have to chew it 47 times. Talk a little bit about your exploration of that issue and what these initial steps are to try and address that.
Yeah, so we've been exploring that issue as well. So your viewers probably know about 60% of the calamari that's landed across the East Coast gets landed here in Rhode Island, which is why calamari is our state appetizer, for those who didn't know. So definitely try it out. So down in Point Judith, you wouldn't realize we're landing about 60%. And Point Judith is really our commercial fisheries. A lot of them are export markets. They're exporting to other places across the world, Asia being one. Some of it is even getting processed there. Some of it's returning back. And then a lot of the fish that we're eating actually here in Rhode Island isn't landed locally. So if you're eating, salmon, or you only eat flounder, or you only eat, tuna fish, chances are, that was landed somewhere else and just brought here through the global system. Whereas our delicious, locally landed seafood is getting exported to other places. Some things that we're looking at kind of on two different things. One is, and this is some work we're exploring with the Rhode Island Food Policy Council and some of their consultants, is, is there more capacity in Rhode Island for treating the wastewater? We were talking a few minutes ago that processing fish is really wastewater intensive, and particularly for squid. So if we wanted to be able to expand the processing capacity here in the state, we'd really need to take a hard look at, how we're dealing with all that wastewater that comes out of it. It's a lot of like dissolved fishy bits, which sounds really delicious, and we want to make sure that we can keep that, keep our waters pure and safe. The other piece is thinking about, and this gets back to some of the institutional procurement stuff, is, if you're going to the store and you're like, I want salmon, I want flounder, I want tuna, we land a whole array of stuff at the port. And unless there's more demand locally for the wide array of things, it's more lucrative for our fishermen to ship overseas right now. So thinking about how we create some of those markets here in Rhode Island, here across New England, working with our institutional partners and others, could give them new outlets to be selling directly into the state.
And that's part of Stu's model.
Yeah.
Up in the West End, which is introduce some of the things that are actually native into people's, eating habits.
Yeah, like scup, and you guys should all check out Fearless Fish, which is over on the west side. That's Stu's new shop. He just opened up earlier this year with the goal of introducing Rhode Islanders to fresh, local Rhode Island harvested seafood and teaching you a little bit about it. So definitely check that out.
What's your biggest challenge?
That's a great question. I wish I had more hours in the day because there's so much great work to do, and I just do not have enough time to do it all.
And what have you seen during your tenure as czar, which I think is lifelong, right? And then
I
your
don't know.
children
We're gonna find
become
out.
czars as well.
Well, I just have a dog and cat, so I don't. They know a lot about treats, but.
What have you seen? What's been the most dramatic change you've seen over the period of time?
I think the most dramatic change I've seen that I'm really excited about actually is the number of new makers who are starting to like grow out of. I think the last time I was here, when we're on the cusp. There's so many who are like entrepreneurs and they haven't quite graduated yet. And all of a sudden, it's like we're seeing, mentioned Cheek Kitchen, Sanctuary Herbs has their own space, Fully Rooted just built out their own space. We're seeing a bunch of these really awesome food companies start to, reach that next level, and it's really exciting. And that's been one of the biggest changes I've seen. I feel like when I first started, everyone was talking about, okay, where do people go when they graduate from Hope and Maine, or where do they go when X happens? It's like they're doing it, they're making it, and yeah, we need to continue to provide support, and we need to continue to, cultivate this, but it's happening. Like the wheels are turning.
It's great.
Yeah.
As always, thank you so much.
Thank you.
We always appreciate when the czar is here. It's a little touch of royalty here at GoLocal, and it's really exciting to watch the industry take off and grow, and see all the entrepreneurs who are finding their way through, not only becoming great food developers and creating a whole series of new products, but also learning business and learning how to build and distribute and hire and fire and all those fun things that folks get to do. Sue, thank you so much.
Thank you. It's great.
I want to thank everybody for tuning in. We'll be back in about 30 minutes with Vin Messalello, chairman of the board at Narragansett Bay Commission, talk about a whole bunch of developments there, including CSO Phase 2, a nearly $1 billion project that will hit Rhode Island really over the next decade. Thanks, everybody. We'll see you back in a little bit.
Thank you.